Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Ajoe21love, and thank you for joining me for another episode of basically sports overcast topics. I have many news and topics to go over as it pertains to the sports world. Again, thank you for joining me. Hope everyone's been safe. I got a bunch to go over as regards to, well, as you see my thumbnail, NFL training camp is actually around the corner. Tomorrow, expect to start for rookies, and that's what we'll start off with. So apparently today, the Chiefs and the Texans, who are going to be playing the opening game of the 2020 season, uh, are testing their players today. Just testing, uh, and soon rookies will go on to show up later this week. But good signs that the NFL is testing, and soon we'll get training camp, and then eventually maybe a preseason game or two. We'll have to see. I think really because teams need to get back in the playing shape. Players need to get back in the playing shape. Coaches and staff need to get back in comfortable because there was no OTAs. So I think many teams, especially for teams that have new coaches like the Giants, for example, like the Cowboys, like the Redskins, and other teams, the Browns, need to get more affiliated before the start of the season, especially with new playbooks and stuff like that, and new coordinators, etc. But this is a good sign. Now, staying on the topic of the NFL, Derrick Henry, of course, the big running back Derrick Henry, who was the league's leading rusher last year, last week got his extension, 12.5 million a year, 25 and a half guaranteed, 4 years on top of the franchise tag. So he is going to be with, well, technically with the Titans for the next 5 years. So for the next 3 years, then he'll have guaranteed money. Last 2 years, of course, hopefully, I mean, the lifespan of running backs in the NFL is fairly short, so we'll have to see how it pertains. But like people can also see on my thumbnail, I also said how far can the Titans, they beat the Ravens in the playoffs, but how far can the Titans go this year? Considering they re-signed Tannehill, a very well-deserved extension after the year he had, basically reviving his career after his stint in Miami. And now Derrick Henry, their leading back, gets his extension. Now, the thing is, because of course people have to adjust my mic a little, but the thing that people backlash on is, of course, the fact that they paid Tannehill before Henry. Um, well, the thing is, the last few years they've been stemming around 500, and they've actually gone 9-7 the last 4 years with a inconsistent Marcus Mariota and a well-run offensive line, a well thought out defense, a very physical team. that is molded into Mike Vrabel's vision. Now, when it comes to the Titans, first of all, Ryan Tannehill should have gotten, in my opinion, it makes sense, the extension first. Why? Because they don't go that far without the year that Ryan Tannehill had. Now, yes, they still were 9-7. However, I think they could have gone a few more wins if Tannehill had started the whole year. Because we forget, or some people do, that they were 2-4 when Tannehill got started under center. And then they went 7-3 in the regular season. And then they beat the Patriots. They beat the Ravens, who looked undefeated. They had Kansas City on the ropes. They had Kansas City on the ropes. But, of course, Mahomes became Mahomes. And they, of course, lost, but they went far. So, in total, they were 9-4 with Tannehill under center. Now, of course, they lost Conklin to the Browns. They could probably slide Dennis Kelly from left tackle to right tackle to replace him. They got Vic Beasley because when you look at the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, that's when they really needed pass rush. Now, Beasley has been kind of underwhelming since his 15.5 sack year a couple of years ago. But hopefully he can add pass rush there. Of course, they also lost Jarrell Casey as well. And as well. But we'll have to see because they still have a strong secondary. Plus, Logan Ryan, maybe they'll resign him. Who knows? They still got Adore Jackson. They still got Kevin Byard. They still have Kenny Vaccaro. We'll have to see Harold Landry. Let's see. Rashawn Evans. In my opinion, when I did my predictions video, I had them as number 5 in the AFC. Now I can see the Chiefs winning the division. I can see the Colts, like I said, I thought they were going to be the first seed in the AFC back in my predictions. The Browns, I pegged to win the AFC North. Agree with me, disagree with me, whatever. The Bills, I still have winning the East. Now, considering now Cam Newton, some of the other moves that have made place, yeah, I still see the Titans. I mean, give or take them against the Colts. I see as my wildcard teams them. It depends, either the Patriots or the Dolphins. And then the Ravens, I am still not completely sold on Lamar Jackson. That's my opinion. The way his style, he needs to amp it up, I feel. I know he was the unanimous MVP, but he still needs to amp it up in the throwing lane. That's my opinion. Now, I'll have to see about that third spot because it could easily go to them the Steelers or the Raiders, in my opinion. Or the Broncos or Chargers, who knows? But it's my opinion. I still think, well, because you got the Colts, you got the Chiefs. I'm not sure if they can certainly make the AFC title game again. And if there's an injury, say Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or somebody gets injured, I can absolutely see them being the AFC side of the Super Bowl. So, but yeah, I can totally see the Titans going as far as they can go. So there's that. Chris Jones, speaking of the Chiefs, also got his extension, 4 years, $85 million. Well deserved. Best defense tackle and NFL besides Aaron Donald. You're still curious how their cap space is going to be for the Chiefs for the next few years. With that Mahomes deal, now Chris Jones deal. It's just, you wonder. You always wonder now. Honey Badger, Kelsey, Hill, but still good for Chris Jones. He deserves it. We'll have to see where the cap space goes, obviously. Another defense lineman, Myles Garrett, got his extension, 5 years, $125 million. I mean, we all know that his 2019 season had an abrupt end, and the Browns defense certainly missed him, but the extension was well deserved. 5 years, $125 million. Well deserved. I'm curious how their defense would have looked, because there was a couple times against the Bengals where they certainly could have used Myles Garrett's help if he didn't get suspended, if that incident with Mason Rudolph didn't happen. We'll have to see. And in the second Steelers game, we also saw they needed someone to seal the game, someone to stop the offense, but they had a tough time. Justin Simmons, and also going back to Derrick Henry, he was the only one that got tagged that signed a long-term deal. So Matthew Judon of the Ravens without a long-term deal. Brendan Sheriff of the Redskins failed to sign long-term deal. Dak, of course, didn't sign his long-term deal. So, yeah, Derrick Henry was the only one that got tagged, that got signed. Speaking of tag, Justin Simmons, like I was about to say, signed his tag for the Broncos. One of the top 5 safeties in the league. Definitely deserves a long-term extension. He is very underrated. We'll have to see. But I would not be surprised if they get a deal done. Although it seems like they're becoming a more offensive now style team. Because, of course, years ago it was about the defense, and now it seems about the offense. Can Drew Lock take another step? Philip Lindsay, Melvin Gordon, how's that duo going to sound? There are 3 wide receivers now, seemingly with Sutton. They drafted Judy and KJ Hamler. We'll have to see. Also, another aspect is, can their offensive line do better? Because their offensive line still was. I like Dalton Reisner, but we'll have to see about their offensive line. So there's that. And Bradley Chubb coming back from injury. I can totally see him vying for a playoff spot. So we go from that to. So there were 2 free fight nights last week for the UFC. First off, Calvin Kattar versus Dan Ige, 2 contenders at 145. Excuse me. But Calvin Kattar, of course, he's top 10 contender after knocking out Jeremy Stevens with a huge elbow a couple months ago. Excuse me. And I'll take a sip of water. But yeah, Kattar now he fights Ige, who basically has everything to gain in this fight. And it was a slugfest, and Kattar pulled it out. Good for him. Now, he is definitely deserving of a true top contender at 145, whether it's another match against the Beat, whether it's Zaire, whether it's Korean Zombie, whether it's Brian Ortega, Max Holloway, who just lost, who knows, but that was a nice win for Kattar. Also, Saturday night was Division Figuierdo versus Joseph Benavidez 2 for the vacant flyweight title. You'll see. Of course, they fought before, but Figueiredo missed weight, and there was controversial stoppage because of a headbutt by Figueiredo. But ended in the first round. I mean, it's sad if you're a Benavidez fan because he is 0-4 now in title fights in the UFC, and he hasn't gone over the hump. Of course, he fought Mighty Mouse twice, and now he's fought Figueiredo twice, and has been unsuccessful in both tries. He just looked. Well, he got knocked down numerous times. He didn't seem very offensive in this fight. He couldn't really get his rhythm. Figueiredo just dominated him on the feet and on the ground. And he got choked out for his efforts. Where does Benavidez go from here? I mean, he fought, of course, talking about Benavidez. He also lost to Dominic Cruz in the WC, so he has not very good success in title fights, so I'm not sure. And he's starting to get up in age, so would he retire? I mean, when you lost twice to the current champ, you aren't going to get a third fight. So I'm not sure where Benavidez goes from here. And also the co-main event of that fight card, Jack Hermanson versus Kelvin Gastelum, a pair of two contenders at 185. Both have needed a win. Kelvin coming off two straight losses, and Hermanson, seemingly his fast rise in 185 got an abrupt halt by Jared Cannonier in his last fight. But I mean, Madsen is deadly. He picked apart, or he choked out Dave Branch quickly, and then he dismantled Jacare in a decision, and then it looked like he was vying for a title shot, but he lost against Cannonier. This fight was pretty quick because Kelvin, he took him down. They were in half guard. It was kind of slow. Something seemed wrong for Kelvin to not be doing ground and pound or anything. But so we noticed that Hermanson, whichever you want to pronounce the name, tied up Kelvin's leg and got him in a heel hook, and Kelvin tapped out quickly. So big win for Hermanson, gets him back in the win column. It's interesting because also Saturday in the 185 division, middleweight division, got headlined by Darren Till versus Robert Whittaker, the former champ. Excuse me. Considering now that, well, if I'm Jack Hermanson, I would want Robert Whittaker to win because Whittaker was outclassed against Israel Adesanya, who's current champ, and he's going to fight Paulo Costa. Now, say if Adesanya and Whittaker win, then it's likely Hermanson is going to get the next shot. But let's say Adesanya wins and Darren Till beats Whittaker, who just beat Kelvin, then that gets more interesting, and maybe a fight between Darren Till and Jack Hermanson. I don't know. Or Costa wins and then everything's up for grabs. But that's a fight that's going to happen in September, and we can't wait. Also on the card Saturday will be a trilogy fight between two legends, likely going to be the last fight for both of them. Shogun Hua and Lil Nog Antonio Rogerio Noguera. Should be interesting. And of course, we also got Fabrizio Verdum welcoming Alexander Gustafsson to the heavyweight division. All three fights should be interesting. Of course, it'll be a little sad seeing possibly Shogun and Lil Nog likely for the last time for both of them. But it should be an interesting night of fights Saturday. Also, a little bit more of NFL news. Jason Peters resigned with the Eagles. Was expected him to get another deal done, whether it be with the Eagles or another team. Yes, he's up in age, but he's still one of the best O linemen in the NFL. Um, and also with the injury to Brandon Graham, um, I'm curious what they're going to do for the Eagles at O line because, well, they could do. They could put Andre Dillard at left tackle. They could maybe slide Jason Peters in at left guard. They could put Kelsey uh, at right guard. Uh, or I'm not sure because, well, they also lost Vaitai to the Lions, so I'm not sure how they'll go. But they still got Lane Johnson. They still got Jason Kelsey. Uh, but they also got, of course, Andre Dillard, and we'll just have to see. But there's that. The Atlanta Braves, they had, of course, two guys opt out already. Uh, but they signed Yasiel Puig a few days ago to fill up a spot left behind by Nick Bartagas. So we'll just have to see how it goes for them in the MLB. And Rajon Rondo for the well, it was kind of announced the other last week, but still, Rondo for the Lakers, and especially during this time and the pandemic, every player is basically vital, more vital in this playoff bubble. But yeah, Rondo is out 6 to 8 weeks with a thumb injury. We'll have to see how this impacts him, but we'll just have to see because the West is very tough. Very tough. I mean, you got the Lakers, obviously, you got the Clippers, you got the Nuggets, you got the Mavericks, you got possibly, well, Zion left the bubble, so I'm not sure how the Pelicans will factor in, but of course, you got the Grizzlies, you got the Jazz, the Rockets. You'll just have to see how things go. The Thunder, the West is really tight this year, so let's see. And a little more news as regards to the MLB. The Blue Jays looks like they're going to be having their games for this season in Buffalo rather than Toronto. Because apparently they were allowed to do spring training in Toronto, but the government decided they have to do in, say, the States. So looks like they're going to be doing in Buffalo, which is weird if you're a New York fan because, you already have the Mets and you have the Yankees. And of course, one of those teams are pretty much the favorites to win this year. So we'll have to see because technically New York's getting another baseball team at least this season. But, oh well. So that was pretty much all I had for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it on this another episode of the Ajoe21love podcast sports overview of topics. it was a good day. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you're new. Obviously, I'll be back Thursday with my AW Dynamite review. Uh, yeah, as you can tell with the thumbnail, I'm trying to keep up or customize the thumbnails. Just trying to do something new because I'm trying to find a way to customize the thumbnails, try and make them different, or try and make a custom layout. Um, try and find new thing to make it more unique for my channel. But hope it was been nice. Hope it was cool. Like I said, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys all back on Thursday.